Let's talk about some of the real bad things that have impacted you directly as my wife, the mother of our children.
As an animator?
Being with an animator, being with an animator, with this animator for all the adventures and things that we've gone through together. Let's just touch on a couple of the big negatives.
I'd have to say the biggest negative would be that it is contract work.
Yeah.
Not knowing when the next contract's going to come, how far in between they're going to come, and are we going to be able to sustain our family in between that time? That's probably the biggest negative.
Okay.
I would say.
Now, to sort of piggyback on that answer and be honest, be 100% honest. Right. Okay. I've never asked you this question before.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But I thought of it today, and it's the only original question I could think of today. So be honest. At what point, or has there ever been a point where you've wanted to tell me, stop?
Stop animating?
Stop pursuing this as your career, because enough is enough.
Never stop. I've never thought stop animating. Mm-hmm. I may have thought stop a project. Stop going about something the way you're going about it. Mm-hmm. Yes. Stop, because we're not the best financially, trying to make those things stretch. It's always been a struggle for us. So there's moments when the contracts are dry and you're pulling things out of the blue to try to make money, and it's really not going to bring anything in enough to make it worth what all the effort you're putting into it. So some of those things, yes, I've wanted to say stop, but never actually stop animating, not working in the field, just in the moment of whatever project you might have on the go to try to bring something in, knowing that the route you're going about it is not going to work for our family, not necessarily, or at the time.
Right. And because you're on the outer edge of that, you have that perspective, whereas I'm in the trenches and I'm seeing things totally different.
Like ordering hundreds of prints and going to two Comic-Cons and now we have drawers and drawers of prints that are just sitting there. And that was a lot of money wasted. Stuff like that. I want to say, stop, just draw your own thing. And we had kind of had a conversation.
To be fair, I was going off the advice of people I reached out to, and it didn't fit with. It didn't fit. Didn't fit me as an artist or us as a family.
And I think I could see that from the outside view, what you were I want to try this.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, I know
it's not
that it doesn't work. It's not going to work long term for you.
Right.
And that path of that has to, whatever that project was, like the Comic-Cons going to that, I knew that that's not going to work long term for you. And to make that successful, it has to be a long-term venture.
I'm
like you
still,
really have to be year to year to year going to these shows. And I knew that's just not something that you would continue to do.
But I am interested in them, in being part of them. I just need to figure out how to do it that in a way that works for me and best showcases my work, my ideas, and that type of thing. And
but some of the part of that specific avenue of showcasing your art and selling your art and whatnot, the reason it has to be a very long-term gig is because just to show up with however many hundreds of prints.
Sure, you got to build that following.
Well, right.
Yeah.
Because we had a conversation the other night about how I view your art versus how you view your art.
Right.
So other people don't view your art the same way either.
Yeah.
So the prints that you have and spent lots of money printing to try to sell might not be the stuff that connects with them.
Yeah. And see,
And that's where it takes a really long time investment, because like you said, you've got to build that following.
Yeah.
And you have to create the art that is interesting to the people you're trying to sell it to.
Yeah.
Not just, I really like this drawing, I want to do this drawing. For something like that, definitely you need to create your own art. I'm never saying you have to just create it for other people. But if you're in a trade show and people aren't into your art, they're not going to buy it.
No.
It has to connect to them.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, you
And-
have to build a following.
And the big problem with the Comic-Cons is
it's kind of a double-edged sword.
everybody wants fan art. And
Right.
fan art's cool. And
Right.
I have drawn it, and I do
Yep.
draw it.
Yep.
But I don't draw it as much. I don't use it as a way. A lot of artists draw fan art to get people to look at their work and follow them.
Right.
On Instagram. It's like a clickbait type thing.
Yeah.
And I don't like doing fan art enough to
Right.
do that. Like at some point it feels
Right. Well, it's not true to what you like to draw.
for me anyway.
Right.
You know.
But if that's going to be a career path that you want to go down,
yeah.
you kind of almost
That's the
have
thing.
to, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to follow the trends to get people to want to buy your stuff.
So the
and that's just not a career path that I can see you going down, because
Yeah.
it's not something that you enjoy drawing. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, the stuff,
Or at least not as regularly as a lot of the artists do. Every day they're posting something or
Right.
whatever happens in the news, and
Right.
they'll draw like Harley Quinn from Batman as a representation of some celebrity in a situation.
right? See, your
And-
art is purely yours. And it's not, no, but it's purely yours. What comes out of your head in the moment, something either that you feel or something that
Yeah.
you've got a story created in your head and you want to put it down on paper or computer or whatever. And it's not necessarily on trend. You know what I mean? And when
sure.
you're selling your stuff, a lot of people are looking at what's on trend.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's just where the two don't jive sometimes. But
I think
that's not a bad thing. It's just not where you're going to make all your money. That's all.
Well, it speaks to that the whole thing of artists sitting down and doing what they love versus something they feel they have to do.
Right. And sometimes you do have to
So
do
if
that.
I'm
But
a lot of times when I'm drawing fan art,
yeah.
I do it when it's something I love. Mm-hmm. If I'm doing it because
We have to
I
connect to
feel,
it too, right?
Yeah, if I'm doing it because I feel like I have to get eyes on my work, I don't even want to finish the drawing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like it feels
Right.
like pulling teeth.
Which is why for you,
yeah,
that avenue of bringing in revenue doesn't work
No.
long term for you or for us as a family.
no. I mean it might in the future, but it's
Yeah, but it's not something that you're going to want to stick to, because you're not going to want to draw the things that you're not interested in.
no. If I can get a following and people become interested in the weird drawings that just come out of my head,
Oh yeah, for
I'm
sure.
off. Like
Yeah.
then I'm starting to get prints again, and off I go.
Right.
You know,
But if you have to get into the stuff that you don't like drawing, you
That's
can
right.
see it in
Yeah.
in your drawings at the same time.
yeah,
If you're not connected into it, sometimes you can see that reflected in your drawings. It's just a drawing.
yeah,
Whereas something that you're really into is amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
I tell my students that too, and I show them. They'll produce a concept sketch for anybody that might be watching. I'm currently teaching 3D animation at a college, Eastern College in St. John, and when my students give me something that they felt was like pulling teeth, it reflects right
Right.
away.
Yeah, for sure.
Without even going deep into the file to see, it reflects right away.
Yeah.
When they're passionate about
And
something,
that's-
it leaps off
that
the
goes
screen.
to everyone's job. I know just
Yeah.
in my own job, if it's a job I hate doing,
Yeah.
you could see it. You don't put in as much effort.
With regular jobs and creative jobs, we're seeing there's a lot of parallels. When you're into it, you're going to perform better.
Right.
When you're not into it, you're gonna.
You're just doing it to get it through.
Exactly. You're that worker at the retail store just putting hours in to get a paycheck.
Yep.
You're very focused on the quality of the look. First of all, you are trying to match imagery that people expect if they go to theme parks. And stuff
I
like
really, I really try to withhold character integrity. It is number one on my list of things I want to achieve. So if a kid has met a character in a theme park or whatever, and then they've come to meet my version of that character or a version of that character that's similar, I want there to be no gaps. I want them to feel like yes,
same magic is right there.
Yeah, I want them to feel like it's the same. They have the same feeling, the same excitedness, the same like you said, the same magic is being created across the board. I care about that a lot. And I didn't realize how important it was until I started watching other party companies on Instagram and following their journeys, and they talked about it, and I'm like, no, that makes a lot of sense. Like, you want to make sure that's withheld. So I've tried really hard to hold that as a standard for my company, and it's amazing to see like how much I've grown since I've started. And where I've come with that character integrity, especially meeting theme park standards. Yesterday, for the first time, I did a park side-by-side. So I took a picture that kind of resembled a pose I was doing in one of my photos from like a Disney Parks Cinderella, and then like my Cinderella, and they looked like, I was like, wow, I can stand next to a Disney Parks character and look okay, and like have there be like, there's obviously differences, like there's details on my dress that they don't have, and certain details of the sleeves and the wig are different, but I was like, I look okay. Like, I was like, wow, I look good next to this person.
Part of the character integrity is the way they look, right? But it's also the way they act. How do you go about making that consistent for all the characters?
Along with costuming and hair and makeup and everything, performance is the biggest part. If you don't have performance, there's no character. So for my company, I have character guides for every single character the company offers. So when I get a new performer in, I can give them that book for that character they're going to play and say, here you go. Should be everything you need to know for this character.
So let's just pause for a minute. When you get a new performer in, you're at a point now where some of your parties, the people are requesting up to 2 princesses.
Yeah, I've had a couple requests for 3, but I didn't have the people at the time. Right. But
so people now are sort of auditioning for you to partake in these parties.
Right now, because I'm not as large of a company, I haven't done like a big like casting call or anything, but I have hired a couple friends, good friends who love to perform
and are also theater
kids. They can sing, they can act. I've seen them do both, and they're both amazing. And most importantly, like when I asked them if they wanted to do it, they were like elated that I even asked them. Like they were like, yes, of course. And they took those character guides that I had and studied them. Each of those character guides has the character's autograph, what you should have on your person when you're in that character, like what costume pieces, head to toe,
and what that translates to for me and your mother is we get a house full of teenage girls
dressing up as princesses,
singing every show tune under the sun at the top of their lungs, behind closed doors, out in the hall, wherever, in different dresses every 10 to 15 minutes, all day. This goes on all day.
Not like cool. All the time, but
like not all the time. But
you make it sound like I have, like I'm crazy.
Well, I mean,
which like I kind of am, but
our
like
car ride today was.
Yeah, we had to road trip to a party today, and it was like show tunes and theater and Disney galore on the way up. But
yeah,
it's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. So I'm driving, and she'll be leaning over closer to me, screaming out the show tune, and I'm just trying. Yeah, you got to be supportive, right? So it's awesome.
You make it sound so much worse than it actually is. Like I don't think it's that big of a deal.
No, it was pretty fun.
It's not that
actually.
Bad.
I had a really good time actually.
Me
today.
too. It was fun. Yeah, I got to start a new friend out performing today.
Yeah.
It was really awesome.
And it was really cool to hear you guys get back in the car and immediately start saying, "Oh yeah, when this happened, I got worried about this, or I can't believe how well this went off." And you did great for your first time, and it was her first party.
Yeah, it was her very first party ever.
Yeah.
And
so when you have those moments of reflecting on your performance,
I always try to reflect after a party. I'm like, okay, this went well, this didn't go well. What can I do better next time? If I forgot a party, like a supplies for the party, like I forgot. I had issue with tattoo supplies today. I had it and then I lost it before we left. I had tattoos. I had frozen tattoos, and then they ended up in a Christmas box or something somewhere, and I lost them. And then, so we improvised. We did sticker tattoos today, and we just made it work. So all of that type of stuff, anything that goes wrong with performance, if we skipped over a activity or
I think
anything,
that's something a lot of creative people can relate to.
Yeah, because
no matter what their trade, there are moments where hiccups happen. A guitar amp goes out, or a microphone dies, or a pencil breaks in the middle of a cleanup line. There are moments where things go bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then how do you overcome?
Yeah,
right?
No party is perfect. I don't think I've done a party that went by completely flawlessly. Like today the party we went to, the birthday girl was really, really shy. So she didn't really want to participate in a lot of the activities we were doing. So like that was a struggle we had to work around, just making sure, even though she didn't want to participate or dance with us or sing with us, making sure she still felt included and felt special.
So when you go to these parties, you're turning their living room or wherever they're having
basically
the party
into our stage.
Into
it's
your
really
stage, great. And you're making the birthday child the star of the show.
Oh yeah, every party.
Like you're not the star. I mean, you're bigger, you're huge because you're there from their point of view.
No, but the goal is to always make the birthday child feel special, but not also to make the birthday kid feel special. Make sure every kid has a moment with the princess. Like when I love doing like face painting or fingernail painting or even tattoos at a party. Yeah. Because it's really good one-on-one time you get to spend with the kids. If they're standing in front of me face painting, I'll be like, "Oh, how's your day today? Like, are you having a fun time?" Or if it's like right now we're about to have a big snowstorm, if there's snow on the ground, I'll be like, "Oh, have you built any snowmen yet this year? What did you name him?" And a lot of times the kid will say Olaf, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, I'll have to tell him, he'll be so flattered." And like
and
all that type of stuff.
9 times out of 10 the kid is just happy to have that moment.
Yeah, exactly.
And then every once in a while you get the little smart aleck kid who calls you out, right?
Yeah, there's been that a couple times.
The beard pulling kid that sits on Santa's lap and pulls the beard, that kind of kid.
Luckily, I have been doing I've been doing parties with my own company since March 16th of 2018, so almost a year and a half now. And I feel like I'm seasoned enough to be able to work my way around that. Yeah. So like if a kid does me and my girls, both of them too, they deserve a lot of credit for that. They withhold their characters so well. Like there's almost no breaks. I
don't think withhold is the right word. Withhold means you're holding back, hold
up their characters so well. I'm really tired. It's been a long day.
Very long. Yeah.
We left the house at 11 this morning. We got back at 5.
Yeah. Get all Lady Gaga.
Yeah. You just learn stage presence. It's all about stage presence.
Yeah, it's cool. Okay, so where to start? I'm really interested because I don't think you've ever told me this, but the time period before we went to Miramichi
Yeah.
to college,
My high school days.
like, did you always want to be an animator or what?
Yeah. I can remember junior high, earliest memories wanting to be an animator, and that would have been watching Aladdin, The Lion King, like around that time, those movies, and really wanted doing that. I went down. I was 14. I went to Disney World with my aunt and uncle and my cousins. And in one of the stores they had, we were in there, and there was an old fellow named Harry Holt, who was a Disney animator. And he was drawing pictures of Beauty and the Beast. Now, they were like pictures he drew, and they were like photocopies.
Yeah.
And then he would quickly shade and render it and give it to you. And you know what I mean? Blows your mind. At that point, I was like, I want to do this because I don't want to read or write or do math or do science or do gym or do anything else. But I get in trouble all the time for drawing in my books.
And
but then
making the flip books in the corners.
but then they tell you how good they are, so they're almost encouraging you. And that's, I'd say by the time I started high school, I knew it was going to be art related. I'm going to do art in some fashion, or I'll get whatever job I can get.
Right.
Whether it's working at Walmart, digging ditches, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like there's no one or the other. It's just
it was a calling for you. You just knew no matter what.
I remember in high school, I want to be an animator, and I want to live in Europe and work in animation, and that was my goal.
2 out of 3 is not bad, right?
Yeah. Well, I did go to Europe for the co-op program through college to work.
Right.
And then the studio we were supposed to work for, which was Terraglyph Animation, I believe, which did like Land Before Time.
Right.
They said they were closing their doors, so they had no position for anyone to work. So they were like, well, we're going to send you with everyone else to this graphic design house. And I was like, no. And that was when I had my first anxiety attack.
Yeah.
And then I came back to school. Because that was like our portfolio building days too.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be working on your demo reel, and I'm going to be over here doing graphic design.
Yeah.
Like, no thanks. But there was never a question what you were going to do.
Yeah.
It's the capacity in which you're able to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even know about that Europe thing.
Yeah, Glenn and I went.
That's crazy.
And then people from electronic, gaming, and all the other courses, they had so many go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we got there, and I remember they said, well, you can't do that. So we're like, all right. We had us staying in the surgeon's residence at a university for the first couple weeks.
Wow.
So we just went out and got drunk every night for like a week and a half. And then I had a severe panic attack one day, and I was just like, no. And then got on the plane and come home.
Yeah.
And then the school's like, well, you owe us $2,500. I'm like, well, you didn't give me the job you told me I was supposed to have.
Right.
And they even tried keeping my diploma and everything.
Wow.
And Mom had to speak to them when we did the graduation walk. I got an empty one because they said I owed them money. And my mom said, well, show me in a contract where it says if you fail to provide them and you come back, then you owe them. She went and got it. First taste of the industry.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, it's not much better than mine. I got hired by Star Tunes in Chicago. And I go to the airport, and they won't let me across the border because I don't know how to use a computer well enough, according to the security guy. Meanwhile, there was no computer involved. This was still a paper and pencil studio. So I end up flying back to St. John a couple hours after Chris Ann had come here. And Chris Ann's my wife. Yeah. And, a few weeks later, I'm working in a call center. Good start.
I remember the call center drawings you did.
Yeah.
I think it was you hanging from the receiver of the phone.
Yeah. Motivating.
Yeah.
I spent every minute in the call center drawing. I probably could have made extra cash doing caricatures, but I was doing them for free, and it was crazy.
And the stupid phone rings.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I learned a few ways to get out of phone calls. At the sign of a what do you call it when a person's really angry? They had a word for it. I forget.
Angry?
No. There was like a special word. I can't remember.
Aggro.
Anyway,
what's it triggered now?
You would escalate it right away.
Oh,
you'll be like, sorry. Let me see if they can help you out in a way I can't. Transfer.
Done with that.
Yeah, it was. I was not a good employee, but my mind was always on creative stuff.
I've never been a good employee anywhere as I worked.
Yeah.
Up until I worked with Steve down at the shipyard, but that was because he's your friend. You're not going to make him look bad. You know what I mean? By doing it. But I remember having jobs and just waking up and being like, I'm not going today.
Yeah.
It'd be like working at Sobeys. It'd be
I
like,
know.
I'm just
I've
not
been
going.
there.
I'm just not doing it.
Yeah.
And you know what? It always worked out for some reason. I don't know,
Yeah.
you feel like you have a horseshoe up your butt or something, but it always feels like
Yeah.
it worked out in some form or another.
Yeah.
Whether it's a whole new life change or whatever. But when you want to draw.
Yeah, Chris and I always say that we've had a couple really big things happen in our lives, good and bad. And when they've happened so fast that there's been no
warning.
pre-planning, no warning, nothing.
Yeah.
And we've always had this thing like, it's supposed to be. It just, whether it was a bad thing, then the bad thing happened. We were supposed to learn from it, not repeat those mistakes and move forward. Or if it was a good thing, we were... like moving across the country to work at Disney just happened. Like, so lightning
and
fast.
it's an experience too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's fun. Like there's definitely fear that goes into it. The unknown, but you have a good time, you know, when you're there. I mean, as good a time as you're going to have anywhere else, but you get to see another part of the country. And I know me, I've never even been farther than Toronto in Canada. Like I go, why?
Yeah, why?
I got water and trees here and cheaper rent. Why,
Yeah.
Why would I go out? Why would I want to go out there? Can you control that with that?
Well, I can. I haven't downloaded the app yet, so I'm learning, man. You got to cut me some slack.
You're like me. You'd be like, oh, I need those pictures sent to me. And I'd be like,
push the buttons.
I'd be like, oh yeah, I gotta go get the pictures. That means I gotta go out to my shop. I gotta put my shoes on. Yeah, I'll do it next time I'm out there. Not out there for like till the next morning, and then like, don't think about it again.
I got the same mind like a sieve. I just procrastinate and I don't know.
I walk through my kitchen 5-6 times a day going, did I take my pills?
Right?
Like one of them, it's okay if I double it.
Right.
The other one's for blood pressure. Now, I'm not sure what the limits are here for the blood pressure, but like, I'll hold off on that one till tomorrow.
Yeah, I had that same problem when I was on a bunch of medications there, and the doctor said, if you can't remember taking it, just wait a day.
Yeah.
And I used to drive myself crazy because I would think of ways to remember, but I would forget why I thought of the ways or something. I'm like, man.
I bought one of the day planners like my grandmother had.
Yeah.
And I filled it once. And then you're like, that week's done. First thing you should do is fill it again.
So that creative mind took over in your planning of it. You just, whatever.
No. I got something else I'd rather do.
Yeah.
Got a video I need to watch on the toilet.
No. Well, I'd like to get what MBCC Miramichi is where you and I both went to college, and we were in the same startup group class and that, which was the very first year it was offered there.
Yeah. It was interesting.
It was interesting. You could definitely tell the college was learning. Luckily, we didn't know what to expect in year one, so they probably got away with a lot of the startup mistakes that people go through.
Oh, well, yeah, they'd have their own hiccups.
Yeah, but I'd like to know what your thoughts were of finally, oh, wow, I'm actually going down the road of learning animation now.
Yeah, I think I was excited, but at the same time, I'm 18. I just finished, because we started in January, and I finished high school in December. So I had Christmas break off, and then I went right to college.
Oh, wow.
So I finished in December, just so everyone knows, not because I was smart. It was because I went longer than everyone because I liked it so much.
Me too. Yeah, me too.
So I started there, and it was just, I think it was the thrill of being on your own too, right?
Yeah.
And you're up there, and you're now surrounded by like-minded individuals.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm at a point where, and you mentioned like being yourself and being unapologetic about it type of thing.
Yeah.
I care way less what people think about me now, in the sense of like being scared that somebody's not going to like it, because no matter what art you do, there's always going to be somebody who doesn't like it. And it doesn't mean that you're not good. It doesn't mean that you're not deserving of being on a stage or whatever. Mm-hmm. But getting to the point where I so wish that I felt like this 10 years ago. Like,
Yeah.
I wish that I had this confidence 10 years ago because it would have changed my whole entire world. But all I have is now. And as, you know, a 40-year-old singer-songwriter, singer, artist, you know, I can see my path a little bit clearer because I'm picking the right path more now.
Right.
And I know who to talk to. I'm still not scared to talk to certain people and like see what opportunities are. But,
Yeah.
you know, I've had a lot of...
It's a weird paradox, so because you
is.
wouldn't have this without those years
No.
of not having it.
This is true. I mean,
Right?
I stumbled through a lot of things.
So
And
it's a weird thing. Hindsight is it's wasted on the youth. That's for sure. They what's that saying? How's it go? Age is or youth is wasted. I don't know. Whatever.
quote fail.
Whatever. Quote fail. Yeah.
But it's no, it's one of those things that, yeah, I mean, if you knew better, you'd do better. But not to say that I did anything innately wrong, but because I learned certain things, like this album, for example. I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew that I wanted to record it. And somehow I mustered up the $5,000 with no grants, no crowdfunding, nothing, you know, to go and record this. I mean, it took me time to pay it off, but I still did it all self-funded.
No, that's major.
And I had no idea. I mean, I paid my musicians who were actually in my band, except for one of them. But like my bass player and my pianist and my drummer at the time, they all played in my band, but this was my project. So I paid them, you know, as one-offs, but they were a huge integral part of my whole growth as a musician. Like I love them still, like from the bottom of my heart. They will always be my family, but it was still all me. It got me a lot of gigs, opportunities, you know, things like that. So now, knowing what I know, I didn't know there was grants. I didn't know people would give you money to do this stuff. And then when I found out that you could, I was like, what? So we actually, and I didn't know how to write grants back then. My band actually pooled our money together because we'd take the money from the gigs and we put it together and we paid a grant writer.
Right. Okay.
Which was good. I mean, there's things I would do completely different from that now.
Right.
But I had that. I got a grant to record the second album. I also did a crowdfunding campaign. So all in all, the money that I was able to muster up, you know, without having to take very much out of my own pocket was like, you know, and I'll use numbers here because if there's anybody that's listening and
that's
wondering,
great because there's up and comers, right? And this motivates them.
There's
inspires.
money out there that they want to give you, and especially with things like the MID grants. That's for music industry development. It's a government grant, but it's administered through Music New Brunswick. Anyway, but this was before Music New Brunswick actually held it. You still had to go through the Department of Heritage and Culture. But still, it doesn't matter. It's still government money. They gave me $3,200, I think it was. And I raised $3,500 through a crowdfunding campaign. So that almost paid for everything that I need to pay for other than, you know, the mastering and producing the CDs and all that stuff. But I mean, the whole project ended up being like, you know, I think around $8,000 or something like that. Wow. And that was for a full length album. So what I'm saying is like there are people who will support you if they believe in you, and you have to prove that to them because, you know, you be like, here, just give me some money. No, people don't ask for handouts, but people who want to support you, they have no problem giving you $5, $10, $1,000, whatever. Like they want to see you, and it's almost like it's a you know, a prepaid sort of pre-sale or whatnot. And lots of people do it because the reality is that it's expensive to record an album. The return on it is usually not anything, like, especially when you're first starting out, you don't see big returns right away because, you know, that's just how it is. You just spent, let's just say, for $5,000 for all intents and purposes. You know, it takes time to get traction on radio and everything, to get royalty payouts. It takes time, like, for that, like that sort of album to grow a little bit. Yeah. So you can't expect things to go wild. I mean, some people luck out and they might get a placement with like TV and film and stuff like that. But even then it takes time. So you have to think of your long game, you know, which I didn't when I first did that one. I didn't have a long game. I was just like, oh, I want to do this. And then it turned in like the professional, like wanting to be a professional musician, and when I say professional musician, it's that when I step on a stage, I'm a professional musician. I don't do this 40 hours a week, but
Right.
I still am considered.
You get paid for your performance.
Yes, people pay me to do what I do,
Yeah.
which is wonderful.
Yeah.
And every time that somebody hands me money, it's like a form of validation to say, you know what?
Yeah.
I don't care if it's $5 or if it's $400 or it's $1,000, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. And again, with those crowdfunding campaigns, I haven't even made the thing yet, and you're giving me money. Like, thank you so much,
I think part of what has kept me going over the last 20 years, when it really wasn't an ego thing anymore for me, I don't need it. I don't need it to feel good about myself or bad about myself or anything. I do feel bad about myself until it's done, and then I'm okay. And usually get enough encouragement to know that I didn't completely.
Do you ever feel proud, or are you always, no, I could have done that better?
I'm always, I could have done that better.
Me too. I never feel proud about what I do.
I never feel that I accomplished it.
Yeah.
It's like chasing the what is it, dragon's tail or something?
Yeah, the perfection dragon's tail.
But looking back, there have been moments where I think that was good. I think I did a good job on that. One of them was Annie. That was also for St. John Theatre Company. But it was because, I think a lot of it was just tailor-made for me. I looked like Daddy Warbucks, and
right.
The music was all right in my sweet spot range, so I could sing it. It was nice and big and fat, and I could sing like that.
Oh, that would have been a good show to see.
But the best part was that the young woman that played Annie, who I think was around 12 or so then, her name is Emma Weigel. She's wonderful. She's graduating from high school this year, and that was 5 years ago. So she was so giving on stage that it was really, we had moments on stage like that rarely happens, where it's so real that I actually my eyes were welling with tears on stage,
right,
hugging her and talking to her about her breaking down my all the self-protective layers that the character had built up.
Yeah.
But she as a actress was able to do that for me as an actor. It was golden. I still think back, wow, that was so fun. And another one that springs to my mind around the same time was playing Uncle Fester for the Addams Family. And it was so fun doing that show. And I had really good funny lines, which I love.
Yeah.
I love making people laugh on stage. And I had a beautiful song, but one of the nicest songs in the show, nice big showed off my voice. And he was just an oddball. And I kind of feel like an oddball. Like he was me. There were parts of him that were me. There were parts of me that were Daddy Warbucks too. Two totally different ways. But the oddball outsider, following your heart, even when it doesn't seem smart.
Yeah.
That's Uncle Fester, and that is sadly, or unsadly, that's me too.
Right. Me too. I can relate to that big time. Yeah. Those sound incredible, though. Well, those shows would have been real. I wish I had seen them.
Yeah. Well, I wish I'd seen them too. I would like to. But my kids are usually very, they're extreme. They're very, like they'll tell me, but they will always also tell me that it was the best thing they've ever seen. So it's hard to explain that.
Yeah.
But if they really didn't like it, I feel that they would probably say something in a nice way to let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
mine would.
they would say.
Oh my!
Yeah.
So fast. My oldest son loves to break balls. He'd be like, "Oh, Dad, nice job. Oh, real good on that one."
Well, another show called what's it called?
You've done so many.
I've done so many, but this one is one of my absolute favorite shows. And I had seen it. KV Players had done it, and I cried all the way through. It was so beautiful. Something Eden? God? I can't remember. But anyway, the first note that I have, this music is ridiculously hard, like ridiculously hard. All over the place, lots of words, which is my nemesis.
All right.
And
memory stuff.
Yeah. I'm looking at Children of Eden.
Oh, okay.
That's what it's called. The first note, I played God, of course, and the first note that I sing is way, way high. I don't even know what the letter is, but it's very high.
Yeah.
So there's all this stuff going on where I'm creating the universe, and there's people running around and dancers, and they've got banners, and there's things and puppets.
Wow.
And then I go, let there be, this really high note. And I had been sick for the week before that. This was about maybe 8 or 9 years ago. And I wouldn't even create it on this microphone because it might break it. It was like just an ugly sound.
Right.
Like it broke. It was I was my everything. I was trying to make that note like I always have most of the time before. Even nope. It was not happening. And after the show, I am getting to the point. After the show, my daughter, Martha, said, "Oh," I said to myself, "Poor Dad." I went, "Okay, well,
yeah,
that summarized what was happening, poor Dad."
Yes.
So I never did, just as an aside, I never could sing any of the high notes in that show all that whole week. So I ended up just and this is about creation and being creative. I didn't even know I could do this, but I sang alternate notes all the way through. Just when I knew they were coming, I would think, what note will fit in this chord and allow me not to sing those high notes because I had lost them for the week. I was just too sick.
Right.
So
and you're in performing live, and you just stumbled upon that ability out of necessity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's like literally sweat running down my sides, like pouring out of my armpits because I'm working and focusing so hard. Yeah. Because I think maybe all actors do this. I don't know. But I treat every show like I'm getting paid, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $10,000 a show. Yeah. Like I want it to be the very best I can. Yeah. Like I give it my all. Yeah. And
well, I think it doesn't just happen for actors per se. I think a lot of creatives find themselves in situations where necessity flares up this creative solution that exceed our own expectations or our own understanding of what our limitations were within our talent we're pursuing.
You're absolutely right.
I've had that many times, and I've talked to many other creatives. So it's interesting to hear that from an actor's point of view on stage, and the music's going, and there is no chance to clear your throat or whatever. No. You just gotta.
I can't stop the show and say I can't sing these high notes. Right. What should I do? Like I didn't have a chance to even. I just did what I needed to do, which also reminds me of another story. And that again, it goes back to Annie. And there was a new song in the production that they did that isn't in the movie. Okay. And it isn't on the original Broadway cast, which is how I learn music because I can't read music. Right. And so they sent me a track, and I was trying to learn it. It was really hard because I didn't have a vocal to reference. And but I thought I learned it, but I was singing, like, literally, Brian, like every effing day. I would be walking, probably sang it at least a dozen times a day for weeks, and I would never remember it. I'd always get stuck on a line, and it was really freaking me out because I could not get it.
That gets the anxiety going.
Yes, and it builds on itself.
Yeah.
The opening night, I was on stage and they were using pre-recorded music. So now there's even less chance of being like, they can't follow me. They're just, it's a track. It's just playing.
Yeah.
And the song started, and as I live and breathe, I had no idea what the words were or how the melody went. I heard the music, and I actually was thinking in front of the audience, and as the music's playing, and I'm looking at the conductor, because there was a music director. I'm so sorry. I'm about to screw this song up because I don't know what it is. My cue came, and I opened my mouth, and I sang the right line. And I'm turning to myself in my head going, what just happened? And then the next line came up, and I sang the next line correctly. I was literally having an out-of-body experience. Something inside of me was doing what it had been trained to do, and the other part of me was going, what the is going on?